Okay, welcome to video 2 on the first Alcibiades. I'll get right into it and we'll try to make the remainder of these a little bit shorter. He brings up the 4 cardinal virtues at a point. He's talking to Alcibiades about, what's truly great and how good are you really, Alcibiades? And he talks about, in reference to these foreign rulers, who at the youngest age are sent away to train with the best. And he says the wisest, the most just, I forget exactly what terms he uses. But effectively he says they're brought up with these 4 tutors, and the 4 tutors teach them the 4 cardinal virtues, which are as follows. You have prudence, justice, temperance, and fortitude. I could give you the Greek words for these. I don't know if you care. But those are the 4 cardinal virtues. And they come from this Greek tradition, and they permeate Western culture. They permeate our understanding of human virtue pretty much, right up to the present day. This is how this is a moral philosophy. Really begins. Ethics is all based in basically these 4 cardinal virtues and things like that. That'd be interesting maybe to go through the 4 and see what's up. Prudence is related to wisdom. It's right thought, understanding of things, and the ability to make good decisions, and the correct use of reason. That's what it is in general. Justice is a big question, and it's the whole point of basically Socrates' endeavors, is to really get to the heart of justice. And so I'll leave that one slightly less defined, but it involves the good, what is the true good, the common good, and the summum bonum, the highest good for man. And I'm going to leave it there. And that's spoilers, read more Plato. Temperance is self-control. And it's interesting. So the Greeks have this, let me describe to you Greek drinking. So Greek drinking, you go to a symposium, a drinking together, and you elect someone a symposiarch. It's a person who's in charge of the drinking. That's what symposiarch means, the drinking lord. And his job is to make sure, his job is to tell everyone when and how much to drink. Which sounds like a fantastic job. At any party, imagine someone's at a party and their entire job is to decide who does and who doesn't drink and how much they're drinking and who's drinking the right things, and they sort of orchestrate the alcohol at the party. And their job is, imagine, in Greek military, you have a phalanx. I'll do it with my fingers here. You have a line of soldiers, and they always advance together and advance apart. And the phalanx is pretty rock tight. It really only falls apart if someone gets too far ahead of the group or starts falling back, and you start introducing breaks and stuff, and then everything falls apart. That's sort of how the Greeks thought about this sophrosune, this temperance. And the symposiarch's job was to make sure everyone was drinking in such a way that they advanced together as this phalanx. And let's say they're going here. Here's the line. Here's where drunkenness is. And his job was to make sure everyone advanced together toward that line and to sit in this little area before drunkenness. So once you go over the line, that's hubris, to cross the line. You don't want to hubris with your drinking, because in here, this is where sort of lack of knowledge, lack of understanding, all these sorts of things, that's where that lies. And that doesn't benefit anyone. That's not good for anyone. But right here is that little sweet spot where your inhibitions are loosened. You are given over to trust. You enjoy company. and you're willing to talk about your deepest self and things like that, and you're willing to open up and to listen to other people, and to really, and that's where a lot of this sort of this understanding, Socrates' whole idea of knowledge, really comes through dialogue. And it's beautiful. Plato wrote dialogues for a reason, and it's right in here. And the Symposium is supposed to try to keep everyone in here, and then as you're wrapping things up, to get everyone to retreat together. Because if someone's over here while the party's over here, then they're not benefiting, but also not adding. But if someone's over here while everyone's over here, then there's discord. And if anyone gets over here, they're neither adding nor benefiting. And so it's a dance, and it's self-control, and it's not the same as avoid entirely, but it's knowing where the line is, and it's knowing exactly when to approach and when to retreat. And Aristotle's going to talk about this when he gets into his masterwork on ethics, and he's going to talk about the virtue lying in the mean. Complete and total lack of control gets you over here, and that's the vice of drunkenness. But complete avoidance of the good, while it looks like control, it's really almost what we would call maybe unhealthy, like OCD. It's that idea of like, what's the obsessive avoidance, in a sense. So you have, here's the line, and near here is where you get real sort of like the human interaction. And you have people who cross the line and people who are so far away from the line that really they're out of control. They aren't able to make the decision to be here. They're actually not free to make the decision to be here. Just like these people are no longer free to make the decision to be here. Both of them have become slaves. One has become a slave to the passions, and one has become a slave to the passions. Basically, this one to complete and total inability to say no to whatever. And this one from a complete inability to say yes to good. And both of them are really very similar to each other, even though they look very opposite. And he calls this one the vice. It looks bad and is bad. He calls this one the counterfeit. It looks good. It looks like self-control, but really it's just, drunkenness. But it's drunkenness you're drunk on principles instead of being drunk on wine. And in here is the virtue, where you're able to take what is good out of things and avoid what is evil in them. And you're able to get the most out of it. And then fortitude, bravery, the ability to face what is unknown, the ability to face what is what is fearful, and things like that. The ability to do the hard thing when it's the right thing. That's fortitude. So, those are the four virtues. He brings them up in First Alcibiades. I just thought they're so key to ancient Greek morality. They're so key to just Western morality in general. And they're worth bringing up. They're worth knowing. So, this has been part 2 of First Alcibiades, the 4 cardinal virtues. Thanks so much for joining me in this series on Plato's Dialogues. If you'd like to see the previous video in this series, click up here. If you want to see the next video in this series, click over there. And if you want to see more content like this, go ahead and click subscribe.